Hello, I'm Neil from L & James. L & James specialises in bathroom and kitchen refurbishments, and also we do a lot of handyman work revolving around the same. So today's job is really quite simple. Blocked up basin, and really this is just a little thing that you can do yourself really. Saves call out charge, saves me coming and charging you 60 quid to come and clean it. So I'm just going to show you what the problem is. There we go, typical basin, run the water, water doesn't flow away as quick as it should, so most of the time it's just filled up with hair, sludge soap, toothpaste and all sorts of other dross. Loads of different types of plug holes. This one is a pop-up, you can see all that dross that's on it, doesn't get cleaned out very often, can't see down there. Quite often people over tighten these and so they don't fit on there, so this is just a pop-up, really nice and simple. Doesn't actually work that well probably because it's all caked in crud. Yeah, you can see some of the dross down here. So biggest issue that we got is, one of the potential issues that we got is that we don't disturb the seal between the plug and the basin. If we do, then we've just got more work, so you'll have to take it all out and reset it. So I'm going to try and set the camera up in the bathtub so you can actually see what I'm doing. In fact, if we can get in behind there, you can see it's just got a standard up and over bend. Don't know what they call them, but it's still a U-bend. You've got the trap down there which contains just some water so the stinks don't come out of the pipe. So what we're going to do, we're going to disconnect it here, disconnect it at the top of the pipe, take it all apart, give it a good clean, stick it back together. Hey presto, it's going to work, and I'll show you how much crud is in there. Probably get some singing. Clients downstairs, I've had to ask her to turn the radio down because she's listening to the radio too, and it is a little bit rubbish to be fair. Right, so here we go. So I'm all prepared, got a dust sheet down on the floor. Don't really need any tools. Nice big jumbo roll of paper so I can catch any water. There's going to be a little bit of water come out down here. Get rid of the dustbin, I'm sure that's full of crud as well. So anything we've got to make sure, yeah, the pedestal's actually fitted to the floor with silicone, so we're not going to take it out, so it's a little bit awkward getting in there. There's two things we can do. We can either drop the first U-bend, the one that I saw, and then try and get in there and then pop it back on, or we'll just struggle. I think I'll just struggle. You know, sometimes these jobs you think to yourself, God, why the hell did I start it? But at the end of the day, customers called me out, I've got to get on and do it. They're a pain in the butt. More often than not, in fact, look at that. I can just move the pedestal now. You can actually see a little bit more of what's going on underneath there. So I can get my hand virtually on that now. Let's see if we can just pull that a little bit more. Last thing I want is for the basin to fall off the wall. That will piss me off. I can't actually get that undone. But sometimes what people do is they silicone them all together, and that's not the right thing to do. I think what I'm going to have to do is get my wrench on that. Look at this, nice big one there, so we can make sure we can hold on to the old pipe nice and tight. Not too tight so we don't want to squash it, but I've got bucket loads of leverage. There we go, little bit of movement there. Yeah, footsteps coming up. I'll have to be careful what I say about the dirty bathroom. Hopefully I've got a nice cup of coffee coming, you never know. Saturdays and they're doing some cleaning quite often.
Is there?
Oh, yeah, I've got a coffee, there you go. Do you hear it? She just shouted coffee. She didn't want to come into the video. I think I surprised her by making the video. I'll have to explain to her the reason why I do it when I go down later. She'll probably ask for a discount, cheeky buggers. Right, here we go. This is where we make a mess. relatively straightforward. I don't understand why people call me out for this, to be fair. A bit of a waste of money, but at least I earn a living out of it. Right, so what we don't want to do is tip it too much, because all the water will piddle out. See that? Just gently, gently, gently take it down. Oh, look at all that shitty hair that's on there. Can you see that just dangling down? I'll show you that in a sec. Yeah, look at all that. Let's see if we can lift this whole camera up. And you can see the crud that's in the pipe. Yeah, look, that's pretty disgusting, isn't it? Oh, lime scale as well. Oh, look at all that hair. Can you see the hair just dangling down? So that's realistically what's stopping the water from flowing. So what I do is just grab hold of it, pull it out, and give it a good clean around. Sometimes this goes all the way around the U-bend. I've seen it, you know, where it's about 10 inches long. It's pretty disgusting, really, but yeah, at the end of the day, we've all got hair. Well, we're lucky, you know, look at me, I ain't got much, but let's face it, if I was washing my hair in the old basin here, it wouldn't be blocking up, would it, with my short hair? But look at that. All sorts of shit. Grot in there, God knows what that is. Ugh. In an ideal world, pull the plug out, you know, the basin, but you know, it's about opening up a can of worms, really. Sometimes if you open up the can of worms and you can't put it back together, it's going to cost you time and money, and that's no good, is it? Yeah, look, that's just in the rim of the plug hole. So what happens is, in the plug hole, the hair loops over like the little cross sections that hold the plug bit together. So they loop over it, and it all just mats up and just clogs up, and it all just dangles down. So see if I can get something in there to hook it out. Got a nice long Allen key, that might be able to do it. So we get a small one and see what we can fish out. Look at that. I'd rather go fishing actually instead of fishing this old crud out. I went to a rented house a while ago, and they were complaining that the basin was stinking, and they said that there must be sewage coming up the pipe. And I said to them, I can't see that being the case, and it's really unlikely that that's going to be the case, to be fair. They're separate pipes. I know they go into the same system, but that's why you have a U-bend. Anyway, I cleaned it all out, saved it all in a bowl, called her up and I said, it's all working now, love. Been nice and friendly about it, of course, because I wouldn't be disrespectful. And she said, have you fixed it? She said, was there any tissue paper? And I said, why would there be tissue paper? She said, because of the smell of the sewage. And I said, no, it's not. I said, this is all your hair. And she's like, oh my God, and she was nearly sick of it. So I thought, well, she was nearly sick. She was retching. And I thought, well, if you're retching at that, you know, think about me that had to clean out your crud. Anyway, all in a day's work, so they say. In for a penny and in for a pound. In this case, it's 60 quid for me. It's only a standard call out, I don't mind. After all, it's Saturday. There's quite a lot looped down here actually. It's a funny old plug with those pop-ups, because if it's a normal plug you can just see the crisscross right at the very, very top, and you can easily hook it out, whereas this one, it's actually quite a long way down, the little spring mechanism. Quite often the spring mechanism packs up because it's just full of dross, and then they don't pop up and down, and so people never put the plug in. Oh yeah, look at that nice little lump there come out. Ugh, disgusting. I'll tell you what, you see what this coffee's like. Most of it's diesel. Not to be rude about it or anything, but it's actually quite nice coffee when you smell it. I think it's fresh coffee. Yeah, can't go wrong with a nice fresh coffee. instead of instant stuff. God dear, oh dear, you get some rubbish that people serve you up and then they expect you to do a nice job. Can't believe it. Yeah, look at that lot, eh? Isn't that lovely? Be proud if you had bogies like that, wouldn't you? Well, I reckon most of that will actually drop away when the water starts flowing. See if we can just get a little bit more off the top of the crisscrosses there. Mostly all clean. Oh, here we go, here's another bit. God, look at that. Seriously, you can do this on your own. It isn't rocket science. The hardest bit is just taking the bottle trap off, really. And oh, there's something foam up there. I don't know what that is. Well, that's pretty disgusting. It's all full of sludge and slime. Oh, here we go. Look at that lot. Cool. Pretty disgusting, realistically. I should put my gloves on, shouldn't I? Lime scale, loads of it. In actual fact, that's a piece of metal, that is. Look at that. What on earth is that? There we go. Good old piece of copper. Can't work out what that is. We'll give it a wash in a minute and find out. Yeah, look at that. Stuck in the bottom. I'm still waiting to find a lovely diamond that somebody's dropped off their lovely ring. That'd be a nice thing to find one day. Got to happen, I suppose. I found a pistol. Not in a waste day. I found a pistol once underneath the kitchen sink. God knows how long it had been there. There were newspapers from donkey's years old. And the lady had lived there for years and years and years. She said, oh, I ain't got a clue how that got there. So it was a bit of a mystery, really. Quite entertaining. Really, really old pistol it was. Don't know what happened to it. Right, so we'll just get that clean out on the inside just to make sure there's no stinky sludge on it. Then we'll clean out the old trap itself. And hey presto, I'm sure it'll work nicely. But who would have thought you'd get all of that out one plug hole? You know, that's not just a year's hair, that, you know, it's probably 2 or 3 years. It's probably never ever been cleaned out, who knows. Let's have a look and see what that says on there. ETCH Tom Exxon, God knows what that means. ETCH, yeah, I ain't got a clue what that is. Bizarre. Anyway, that was down there. Right, let's have a look and see what's inside this old trap, shall we? It doesn't actually feel like there's anything in it. Well, look, it's a little bit gunky, so we'll give that a bit of a clean out. Quite often you've got hair that runs all the way around it. Bath traps are the worst ones. Bath traps are a pain in the backside to get off, as you can imagine, because they're, you know, you've got your panel, you haven't got much space underneath the bath. Once hair starts chogging up in that and the bath doesn't flow away, that is a menace. But there you go, look how clean that we can get that. And that's just a little wipe. But yeah, bath traps, I've had literally the whole pipe, you know, possibly about 18 inches of pipe, completely chocked up full of hair. Obviously, if your wife, well, it might be you as a man, you know, potentially might have long hair, but all of that's going down the plug hole. Yeah, that's pretty clean. So I'm happy with that. This one here is a little bit more grotty because this is the first one in the bend. And then the other thing that we've got to make sure is when it all goes back together, we check all of the rubber seals to make sure that there's nothing wrong with the rubber seals. I don't like to take them off actually, because if you take them off and they split and you haven't got one to hand, most of the time I've got spares, but sometimes you get caught out and you haven't got a spare, and then, you know, it's toddle off up the road to go and buy a new waist strap really for just for a rubber, which is a bit of a menace. Gosh, it's quite grotty in there actually. It's grottier than I thought it was going to be. But That sounds like the old dog's come upstairs to see what I'm up to. Nothing personal. I hope the client didn't think I was talking about her. That wouldn't be good, would it? But she's not actually. She's a lovely person. Been here a few times, strangely enough. I think she fancies me. Yeah, look at that. Lovely and clean down there now. Tell you what we're not going to do. We're not going to rinse it underneath the basin because it'll just all piddle out, won't it? Clean that off. Yeah, that's all okay down there. Well, that's it. Relatively simple job, really. So let's pop this back together. And that goes on there like that. Don't tighten it up until it all goes together. Got to make sure we've got the O-ring on the top of that one. I think it's still on the... Yeah, it's not. I wonder what I've done with that. Must be amongst all this lot of dropped on the floor. Let's have a little look. It's interesting, isn't it? I've lost that somehow. I wonder what I've done with that. It's got to be here somewhere, isn't it? Amongst this whole lot. There's me saying you've got to be careful and check it all and I'll go and lose it. There it is. Look at that, it's a little bit manky actually. It'll probably still work. No, that's okay actually, I can't feel any breaks in it. Well, that's it. We'll have to check it properly though because it may... If it doesn't seal, I'll go down to the van and get another one. I haven't got one up here with me, but I'm quite sure that'll be okay. So we'll put it back together now. So the biggest issue that people do on here is they cross-thread the nuts onto the brass plug hole. Once you cross-threaded it, you're on a hiding to nothing, it's always going to leak. So good way, reverse the thread backwards so you can actually hear it click. It's only got a single spline on the thread. Once you hear it click, you know that it's all lined up, and then just slowly do it up. And just really make sure that you don't cross-thread it. It's easy to cross-thread, particularly if you're rushing or you're a wally. I'm just going to push that up, make sure that the pipe's fully up into the trap. And this looks a little bit awkward, it is a little bit awkward, but there's a lot of them which are even worse than this. Thankfully it's relatively straightforward. 18 minutes, golly, it's taken me a long time, isn't it? It's because I talk too much. Anyway, that's that tight. Give it a bit of a wipe. Tighten this one up. Make sure that one's tight again. Yeah, that's tight enough, and make sure we're tight up at the top. Don't over tighten it. Once you over tighten it, it knackers the thread. Knacker the thread, it's not going to work. There we go, have a little look. Make sure everything's all connected. Give it a run. Look at that, flying away like a racehorse. So just going to check the underside, make sure it's not leaking. Dry piece of tissue. Look at that, dry piece of tissue. If there's any leaks, it will go dark. So put it on the bottom of the track. Nothing. Generally these, if they're going to leak, they're going to piddle out. So that's not leaking. Run my finger around the top.